I joined the Marine Corps when I was 19 years old, right out of high school. Had a sense of duty to my country, wanted to do something bigger than myself, so I figured joining the service was the right thing to do. As a Marine, I was a military police officer, so I was kind of moving my way up the ranks in the military police world. I applied for a commissioning program and was commissioned in 2007. And as soon as I was done with OCS and I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, I found myself on the way to combat for the very first time. It was the very first big push into Afghanistan, and there were rules, but nobody had quite figured out what the rules were going to be. The best way I know how to describe it to people is cowboys and Indians. I know exactly what the settlers who were going west felt like on those wagon trains, because one of our major jobs there was convoy security and route clearance, making sure the routes were clear of IEDs for all of the military vehicles going back and forth. You're literally striking out on a path that no one else has ever been on. You're a very slow moving, just like a wagon train in the Wild West. And the Indians are all in the mountains watching you, and they know you're coming. They're setting traps all along the way. We encountered a lot of IEDs. I mean, there were days when my guys would come back off those roads and they would have found 35 IEDs in a day. It got to the point where there just wasn't enough of us and there was just too many routes to clear, so we made a decision that we would literally eat, sleep, breathe, and patrol those roads 24 hours a day. We were running 7 days a week, finding and fighting. Reloading! It was a very, very intense deployment. People talk about PTSD and what causes it and what is it like. You have the trauma of the firefights and the explosions and the unsureness of the next minute or the next step. But you also have the unsureness that we're on a route patrol, a vehicle gets blown up, a kid is very severely injured, and I call in for a medevac. And for 2 or 3 days, I don't know if he lived or died. And that takes a huge toll on you. You can't process it because 10 minutes from now, I have another fight. You just push this back and you push this back and you push this back and you just keep fighting and you keep fighting and you keep fighting. And then all of a sudden it's over. You land in Jacksonville. And in my case, on that deployment, I left, my daughter was 20 days old. And I came back and she was almost a year old. And she had no idea who I was. I had no idea who she was. I had no idea who I was. And you come back and you're supposed to be normal. You're supposed to just live this normal life. And I have to somehow figure out how to have emotions about things that I've learned to turn off for the last 9 months. And then the Marine Corps goes, we got another one for you, and you turn around and you go right back. You almost get into this rhythm where you'd rather be in combat because combat somehow seems easier. Because at home, sitting in my living room in the quiet all alone, that's when all of that stuff starts coming back and you don't know how to deal with it because you've turned all that off. So a lot of guys make a decision that I can't do this anymore. No one knows who I am. I can't connect on a real human basis anymore, and they decide that suicide is the answer. In my case, it all culminated with me right here in my house, in my bedroom, with a pistol in my hand, round in the chamber, weapon off safe. And I had made the decision that I can't do this anymore. I can't fight this fight anymore. I don't know what happened, I don't know what it was, I can't explain it. The best way I can say it is that Jesus Christ found me in that moment. And he let me know, I have something else for you on this earth, I'm not done yet. It was just enough for me to lower the weapon and go, okay, God, if you have a plan, I'm all in. So I went all in. I went to my wife and I told my wife. It was really the first time I admitted to myself and I admitted to her that something is wrong with me and I need help. Luckily, the mental health part of the Navy is very good, and they identified a lot of things about me that I didn't realize. You know, I have a traumatic brain injury that was never diagnosed, that I never knew was affecting me, but it was. Then I was introduced to the Reboot program, and it's a faith-based combat trauma healing program that is phenomenal. It gives you a whole different perspective on the healing process. And so then, as another piece of my own healing, I had always in my life kind of dabbled with woodworking and building things. I found peace in the garage. I found peace when the saws were running. Maybe it was the noise, but I found a sense of peace just being here, being with the wood, understanding the wood. And because I began to understand that healing in my own life, I began to understand, like, this is something that could really impact other guys. To bring these guys here and be able to walk them through that process of, hey, I get it, man. I get everything in your life is falling apart right now, and I get everything you touch is falling apart and is being destroyed, but let me help you build something.
The idea that the noise drowns out everything else.
It does.
And it just like, it literally makes me just calm. I love it, man.
You know, I never thought about flying out like that, because when the saw's on, I don't hear the ringing in my ears anymore.
You don't hear anything, man.
No.
And not only am I showing him that your hands can build something, I'm showing him that I'm right here next to you, brother. You know, we're shoulder to shoulder. We didn't physically fight together, but we're fighting right now. We're fighting together right here, right now in Jacksonville, inside this garage. We're fighting the enemy, which is PTSD, every single day together.
Bear's riding on the lower.
Okay.
And because this is a 3/4 inch piece of wood, then I gotta raise the blade back up and cut the top edge of it off.
Okay.
When I had an opportunity to build a flag and give a flag to Mission Barbecue, it was awesome. It was a great, great honor. Me and Jesse, one of the guys that's part of this whole thing, we hung it on the building for him, and it looks like it was meant to be there. When people see the flag that I built for Mission Barbecue hanging on the side of the building, I hope they see beauty. I hope they see a work of art. I hope they see something that started out as just a bunch of blank pieces of wood, and through time and care and work, I hope they understand and see the healing behind it and how much that means to somebody. It means to me. It's been 6 years almost since my last combat tour, and it's taken me that long to get here, and I'm still emotional about it. But I want the guys to know that we're here and that we're fighting for them. We want to fight with them, and that it's so much better. It's so much more beautiful when you give in and you just stop letting PTSD destroy you and let healing take place.